Ladies and gentlemen, your boys are back on a special Tuesday night. And boy, do we got a great interview for you this evening. I'm not going to waste any time. I'm the best in the world. To my left is the big Vince. Down below me is the big dog. And let's just go ahead and get her right in here. Welcome to the Pilediver podcast. Angel Metro.
Hello. We are excited to have you on.
How are you?
Doing fine. Thanks for having me.
Oh, definitely excited to have you. We wanted to have you on for a long time, but believe it or not, you are our first female guest on the Pilediver podcast. So I'm pretty excited about that, for real.
That's awesome.
I am too. Yeah, we've been a fan of yours. Well, I've been a fan of yours for a while. Then we got the opportunity to finally see you at Neo Pro, and we're loving having you out here. You got another big match coming up this weekend against Super Oprah. We want to talk to you a little bit about that.
Okay.
How familiar are you with Super Oprah, first off?
Yeah. So casually, I've seen a few matches of hers. I actually really like her.
Great.
Obviously now I've got to hit the ring with her. So, no love lost there. But previously, I really like how she decides to put on her matches. I like the comedy, and I like that, for pardon my French, but no fucks given attitude.
Oh, no, you're good. We're allowed all the cusses here. You do whatever you want.
I agree with that. I love that about her. Definitely the comedy. It fits well in what she does. She doesn't give a fuck, and it's great. And I love it.
I'm just gonna give you a piece of advice just from previous stuff. Don't take her wig off. She doesn't like that. She's not a fan. But
leave alone.
We've seen that. What was it, last weekend? Someone took her wig off.
At Mega Championship Wrestling. Yeah. Well, I believe she was at one of the I think it was the very first Neo Pro show, wasn't it, Dean? The very first one. She was there, and that was my first introduction. And ever since then, I've been a hella fan because she's hella entertaining.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously though, Super Oprah is a lot bigger in stature than you. Mm-hmm. Are you planning on relying on your quickness here?
Yeah, typically when I wrestle larger people, I try to think smarter, not harder on it, because I'm obviously, I trained in the South with a lot of larger men. So I'm familiar with dealing with bigger opponents. And for me, being able to catch people off guard when they out muscle me, and obviously, quickness is an advantage for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen you go against Madman Pondo, who's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, we've seen you all over the place. They had a list for me earlier of acronyms of just wrestling federations. We've seen you at RCW, correct?
Yes.
At Ruthless with Ricky Shane Page. We've seen you there.
Yes.
I've personally only seen you at Neo Pro, but every match has been fire.
Thank you.
It's what I think what brought it out the most, Lo, was the last time that you weren't there when you were fighting. You had the Jessica showed up, and we haven't really heard anything from Jessica since. Are you kind of keeping eyes in the back of your head when it comes to, showing up to Neo Pro Wrestling, because she could show up at any time? She's clearly called you out, I assume you're accepting. I assume you ain't scared of shit, but we've heard nothing. All we got was her on the video screen at the last event.
Yeah. I went up against Zoe Sky, who is a phenomenal wrestler, and she definitely got the upper hand on me in that match. And then, of course, Jessica decided to kick me while I was down and put her 2 cents in about it. I really enjoy working at Neo Pro. Everyone there is so welcoming and so friendly. But when it comes to someone like Jessica Havoc, who has pretty much done everything and wrestled every kind of person there is and can be completely ruthless, when you get on her bad side, of course, be on edge. I mean, 100% she's a threat.
Yeah, she basically just showed up randomly and inserted herself with you against Nurse Micah, and just kind of picked you and kind of picked on you, and I don't understand why. Like, but she has something against you, and we're curious to see. Like, she could show up at any time, just like she did in that first time.
Jason's in the chat. He said his daughter Mona says hello.
Hello.
Caitlin's also in the chat. She was letting us know last night during our show that her daughters are also big fans of yours and are super excited that you're going to be there this weekend.
Thank you so much.
So you just started wrestling like a little over a year ago, right? Like just started training recently?
Correct. Well, so I started training actually February 2021, but I've been wrestling a little over a year now, like working.
2023 has been, I think, in my personal opinion, has been a phenomenal year for you. You've kind of just catapulted up, and I think the sky's the limit for you. Do you have any like takeaways from 2023 from your like first year in the industry?
Yeah, it's been great. And actually I started training February 2022. Great at dates, not 2021.
It's all right. You skipped a year.
Yeah. So last year, 2023, right? Yeah, I got that right.
Yep.
It was kind of a whirlwind year, you know. I went in, started working, and it just felt like one thing to the next thing to the next thing. And it just kind of, I don't want to say avalanched, but it definitely just kind of expanded exponentially, where I was in a different state every week and wrestling all kinds of just incredible opponents. And yeah, I just tried to keep up. My takeaways from it, I mean, I'm glad that people enjoy seeing me wrestle. I appreciate that. I'm glad that they are so excited to, you know, watch my journey and wherever I end up. Definitely have to make sure I make time for myself too, though, because, you know, when things go from 0 to 60 so quickly, it can get exhausting.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, especially when you're all over the place, you know. Be a little bit different if it was a show every week or a couple every week in one state or two states. But because I often go to the Midwest, obviously Ohio, I go up north to like New York, New Jersey a lot. And then, you know, I find myself in different places around the South. Yeah, you've got to pace yourself with that, especially as a new wrestler.
Yeah,
I mean, no, I agree. I agree with you. You know, like Dean said, you haven't
protect your mental health and just kind of just soak everything, kind of recharge a bit. It can be overwhelming. I know I would be overwhelmed just kind of doing that. Just, that's me personally, just traveling all over.
That kind of schedule. Oh yeah, that kind of schedule's got to be hectic. I mean, but like you said, you haven't been wrestling that long. It's clearly working out for you. By my research, I'm gonna Vince's research. You got the Shore Star Wrestling. You are the champion, Star Shore Women's Champion, over 200 plus days, correct? And
yes.
you also are the Warriors of Wrestling Women's Champion.
Yes.
So Angel 2 belts out here, and you've only been wrestling for a year. So clearly you're making an impact. What's been, I guess I'll say, your favorite match so far that you've had?
My favorite match? Ooh.
Yeah. If you had to pick one.
If I had to pick one match, man, I have to go back and go through my brain real quick and remember all the matches that I've had.
Oh, it's okay. Take your time.
Or one, you know, one that definitely stands out, you know, that made an impact or like taught you a little lesson or something. Where you're like, that'll stick with me forever.
I feel like I get that, and I try to at least get that in every match. The obvious one, I think that sticks out to everyone, was the match with Madman Pondo, just because what happened. And I mean, I love Pondo, so always a fun time being around him. So, you know, that was a standout match, I would say. Yeah. I'm trying to think what else. I actually really liked the first RCW show. I got to tag with RSP. That was very cool. I really enjoyed that one. Yeah, that was really, he's so fun to work with. Actually at RCW 2, I tagged with Otis Koger. That was a really fun one.
We're very familiar. We're very familiar with Atticus and Otis and Christian and the whole 440. Bobby Bev's my favorite. Rep and Bev. I love the Bev.
I've seen you get attacked by 440 being a guest referee when you're just trying to break up.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that was a thing. I really like the matches I have at POR too. That's really fun. It's run by JJ Escobar.
Okay.
And it's kind of like more of it's outdoor. It's kind of underground, like outlaw hardcore deathmatch promotion.
Ooh.
That's been really fun. I tagged with Shane Mercer on one of those shows, and I dug that because I managed him later on in the match, and I got to he wrapped this guy kamikaze in fireworks, and I got to light him.
That is cool.
That was really fun. So
Shane Mercer is unbelievable.
Yeah, really cool.
We just got to see him in action a couple weekends ago up against Ashton Day at Mega Championship Wrestling and up here with us. And it was the first time seeing him, and he picked up the dub, and we got to see the flipping, I don't know what you call it, the flipping, fall away power slam.
Oh, the Moonstone?
There you go.
Moonstone.
Crazy. I've seen it all over the internet, but to see it in person right in front of my face is just a whole nother level of awesome.
Yeah,
Like, sir,
he's
how are you
really,
doing
really strong.
I got some comments. Caitlin said, I'm glad that some of her biggest fans are our 4-year-olds. Your vibe and demeanor shows our kiddos that they can do whatever they want, proving to our girls that girl wrestlers are bosses. I mean, I respect the hell out of that too, because I have an 11-year-old daughter that I bring to shows with me and she comes to hang out. And so seeing, girls in power is definitely a top-notch tier for the dad over here. She said, Caitlin also said, you got Riley. She said, no way, it's actually Angel on the famous wrestling show. PDP, y'all are famous. My 9-year-old says so. I'll take it. That's fine.
Awesome.
Glenn's in the chat, and the Hammer, Yo Paulie, is in the chat. It's good to see you, Yo Paulie. Back to the Angels. I wanted to talk to you about death matches. You don't seem to shy away from death matches. I'm a fan. Some people don't like death matches at all. Our friend Yo Paulie the Hammer being one of them. That's just not his style, and I respect it. But I'm about that life. Like we went to Circle 6 one time, and they had a bring your own weapons match. Me and Dean walked in with pizza cutters and potato mashers and all kinds of stuff.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
How I guess exhilarating is it? Death match wrestling. What's that like? Because it's obviously different from a regular wrestling match.
Yeah, so I mean, as a fan, I'm a big fan of deathmatch wrestling. I have been for some time. As a worker, I haven't done any death matches yet. I've worked a few hardcore matches. I've only worked on Glass once, the no peace show that we were talking about. I definitely am planning to in the future, but because I'm a new wrestler, I think being able to be as safe as possible before you start introducing other elements like weapons, glass, more barbed wire, things like that can be kind of unpredictable.
The dangerous weapons.
Yeah, absolutely. And not just for myself, but for my opponent too. I've seen so many, and not just, the average, like no name, like indie people doing like deathmatch. I've seen incredibly skilled technical wrestlers that also do deathmatch get very much injured because it's so unpredictable.
Oh, yeah.
So coming in as prepared as possible is important. And because matches like that with weapons and such, just from the limited experience that I've had, for me personally, is so much fun. Like, I think I like it a little too much that I'm very much, in the self-control, like, area of my life where it's like, okay, like, you can't just go running face first into this. Like, you've got to, especially
you gotta take it. Assess the situation first.
Yeah, let's we're really, fluid in the ring and prepared as much as you can be before stepping into something like that, because it's a completely different animal.
Who are some of the wrestlers, like you said, you've been a deathmatch fan for a while. Who are some deathmatch wrestlers that you've kind of grew up watching? I'm sure Madman Pondo was one of them. He's been in the game for a while. Anybody else that you kind of like looked up to, and that maybe like when you cross that bridge and you want to get into it, is there someone you would like to step into the ring with?
Yeah, so for deathmatch wrestling, people that I really enjoy watching, a lot of them are people that were in like the early to mid 2000s, like IWA, CZW. I also really enjoy Japan's deathmatch wrestling. El Desperado's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
His flow, everything. And then, of course, everyone that comes with that, like Kasai and Takeda and everyone. Yeah.
Very cool.
I see you got a big match coming up on the 23rd against John Wayne Murdoch out in Indiana at XCF. That's going to be a really good match. I wish I could be there to watch that one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Have you gotten to wrestle with John Wayne Murdoch before? Is this the first one?
This will be the first time. So,
okay.
Yeah, it'll be the first time he and I face off.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's going to be a really good match.
I mean, you got a full card. 2023, like Dean said, was amazing for you. What's on that? What's your goals or aspirations like you want to set? Like maybe I'll use a New Year's resolution type of thing for 2024. Something you want to accomplish this year.
Ooh.
Whether it could be wrestling or personal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little tricky because I didn't set out with a lot of goals in wrestling that weren't personal. So then everything kicked off, and then I was like, whoa, just trying to keep up with that. So I kind of came in with the same strategy in 2024, but just making sure that I keep focus on myself internally. Like that's where I like to keep my goals, that's
very important.
The next step is with like my in-ring ability or whatever it is, everything's been very internal for me when it comes to wrestling. So just remembering that as I go in, because when you start getting busy and traveling and meeting all these different people, different fans, and, different people also in the business and stuff, it's easy to get caught up in other people's expectations, because there's all this energy behind you.
Yes.
And, it's just impossible to like maintain that. So for me, or at least it is for me. So just really sticking to why I got into this and, what do I want to do? What is fun for me? Like, what is fun for me?
What does it for you? Something that's very important. You want to make sure that at least you're having fun while you're doing it. And yeah, just keeping with that. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are people that I could wrestle that I can learn a lot from. And there are people that are, higher up in the business that I can learn a lot from. But for me, most importantly, is aligning myself with people that I'm going to enjoy my time with. And then I can also get the benefit of those things as well, So
yeah.
That's important.
Actually, depending on how my match goes with Murdoch, I think Mercer, I called out Mickey Knuckles. I want her next. So yeah, I think
I mean, and look, this is one of those things where it's a match you didn't know you needed. We got Papa Johnson in the chat, Dean. He said Angel versus Megan Myers would be amazing. I don't know if you're familiar with Megan. She comes along to Mega Championship Wrestling, I hear, by us, and she's phenomenal. I'd love to see you guys go at it. That would be a hella phenomenal match.
She's really good. She's been featured on AEW.
Caitlin said Isabella said hi. Angel to Angel. Caitlin's kids are saying hi.
I love that.
Yeah, Megan Myers has been on AEW, featured. So I'd love to see her versus you. I've seen you as well. You guys can both go, and so that would be a fucking match. We didn't know we needed, but that's a good one, Tommy. I want to switch gears a little bit. I'm gonna go on Dean's shirt. I've heard, I've read, I've seen you post. You're a big horror fan. Big horror fan.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us some of your favorite horror movies?
Well, growing up, it was kind of the classics. So for me, it was, the Child's Play series, Hellraiser, Candyman, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, all the ones that you think of.
Classics.
Yeah. The classic.
Reanimator is a good one.
Child's Play scared the living bejesus out of me.
See, now as an adult, though, I'm like, I don't know, man. I'd kick that little kid. Like
I don't know, man. That's all. In the second one where he's whacking the teacher to death with the ruler, that was terrifying.
Freddy will always be the scariest for me, dude, because you have to sleep. everybody has to sleep. There's no way you can get out of that.
Right.
I remember I was forced to watch the original It when I was younger and by my babysitter, and I was just like terrified at a young age.
Forced to watch it by your babysitter. Amazing.
But I was like terrified, but at the same time I couldn't stop watching, and it's just kind of, I think that kind of started my obsession with horror movies at that point. But I love them.
Absolutely. Definitely. Evil Dead is another big one for me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I love Ash.
I love
Yeah,
Terrifier. Art the Clown is great. It kind of gives the old school classic horror vibes, and I love every bit of it.
What'd you think of that new Evil Dead?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah.
It was really good.
Matt Ward in the chat wants to know what Angel's opinion on Final Destination is.
Oh.
Final Destination?
And like as a horror movie? Like Final Destination as a horror movie? Because I wouldn't necessarily call it a horror. I would say it's like thriller.
Suspense.
Suspense.
I mean, it definitely has some gory moments in it, like going through the different. I don't know if he just means the original or
I just have no number. It just says like Final Destination.
Franchise. Yeah, I mean, it definitely has some gory moments, so I would consider it horror. I think it's fun. You know, it definitely left its impact on horror culture and culture at large. Like,
well, just in general, because I know to this day when I'm driving down the highway, if there's a truck with logs on it, I am not behind that truck. Right nope, I saw Final Destination. I know what can happen. So
yeah, there's that. I really like how it played on a lot.
Caitlin said the same thing. She refuses to drive behind a log truck.
Yeah, exactly. I like how it played on a lot of kind of everyday anxieties that people have, like riding a roller coaster, in the sequels. Right. And then it would have certain elements of things where you're like, I didn't even think about being afraid. Like, I remember it might have even been in that same sequel, the tanning beds, where the girls are in the tanning beds and
it gets locked and she just burns up.
Oh, so there's something new to be like paranoid about.
It makes you like, still to this day, like all that stuff, it makes me look like, no, I know I've seen this. Like, I'll like double check things, like make sure it's good. It made me super paranoid for the longest, but
I'm a big fan of the Final Destination series. I thought they were all fantastic, especially when they made the 3D one and you got like the 3D glasses with it and like shit was coming out of the screen at your face. Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Good series. Mm-hmm.
So like, I know you were just talking about how you wanted to kind of remind yourself and surround yourself with people who make this fun and you can enjoy yourself and also grow in the industry. What is the best piece of advice you've gotten from somebody in the industry so far?
The best piece of advice.
That was probably a tough one.
Yeah.
I got one to play off of that too.
Ooh.
Some important pieces of advice I got early on was from Jimmy Valiant, who is the founder of my training school. And it was that a man has two things in life. He has his word and he has his reputation. And that stood out to me a lot on how I like to conduct myself in the business.
Yeah,
that's a great piece of advice, actually. And coming from
he's 81 now, so he's been around a little while.
Hey, that's where. Look. As a kid, I say this all the time now. As a kid, you used to sit around like a grandpa or something like that, and you're like, dude, he just start talking, and you didn't want to listen to that shit. And now, dude, as an older guy, I'm like, man, I should have listened. I should have sat down and listened to them stories, man. So I get that. 100%. Always listen to the vets. Always.
Yeah. And then I think another one, not verbatim, but essentially just just don't let anyone else kill your fun. Because it can happen intentionally or unintentionally, and just that's what it's all about at the end of the day. There's so many elements that can get thrown into wrestling. Financial and social and all of that. And at the end of the day, like, wrestling is too hard to not be having fun while you're doing it. It's too hard. You're getting your ass kicked every time. You're driving all these hours. You're, all of this stuff. Like, it's just too hard to not have fun.
Jason said his best piece of advice is tuck your chin.
Yeah,
Matt said always keep going. Multiple obstacles will appear in your path. Make sure you face them head on.
That's a good one too.
No, that's good advice. Definitely good advice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna piggyback off of Dean's question a little bit. What's a piece of advice you've learned or something you've learned in the wrestling business that you've now applied to your everyday life?
That's a good one.
I think for me, wrestling, it's not necessarily a piece of advice particularly, but something that wrestling has done for me that's carried over to my everyday life is being a lot better at riding the waves and regularly working in chaos.
Yeah.
So when things flip on their head in my personal life too, I have a lot more patience and ability to deal with it because everything's always so crazy in wrestling and unpredictable. And it's like this thing, that thing, this, that. Again, like even just one small particular instance where I'm in a match and then Jessica Havoc shows up and it's like, well, okay, guess gotta wrestle her too. So.
No, but it's kind of giving you the time to like take it and prioritize and like kind of slow everything down around you for a second, so to speak, and just kind of get it.
Yeah, it helps me, live in unpredictability while not being like a complete slave to it. You know what I mean? Like I can still find my peace. I can still remember my priorities and why I'm doing whatever it is that I'm doing amongst whatever's going on. Because there's always something. There's always some kind of like craziness in the background. So
that's true. It kind of keeps you grounded in a sense.
It does, yeah.
So a thing we like to normally do around here is we like to do a top 5. And it's kind of snake style draft. And since the first female guest on the Pile Driver, we wanted to do top 5 female wrestlers.
Okay.
So we're going to let you go ahead and get number 1, first pick overall. And it doesn't have to be in any particular order. But once you pick somebody, we can't pick them.
Oh.
It could be past, present, anybody.
Yeah, it could be anybody you want. But once you pick them, they're gone.
Man, oh man.
That's tough.
This is a thinking game. We get stumped on this a lot.
We got stumped last night. And then
we did a top 5 tag team.
Like the obvious answer, but then I'm like, should I be the one that gives it or not? So top 5 female wrestlers. Yeah, I guess I'll just go with the obvious. I'm gonna put China up there because
that would have been mine.
She was son of a bitch. That's why I was like, should I do it?
I'm so excited that she's in the new video game. Like, I'm so fucking pumped that she's in the new video game.
I really hope someday they induct her as a solo in the Hall of Fame. She deserves
it. I've always been a China.
Held the men's title.
All right, Dean, you can go. I'll go last.
Alondra Blaze.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, okay.
I stole a lot of my, like, when I was in school, a lot of my first quote unquote moves I stole from Medusa.
Really?
Yeah.
She was great.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Vince.
I'm stealing her. I'm going to go with Mommy. I love Rhea Ripley. I'm not ashamed of saying it.
Okay. That's fine. I'm not mad at you at all. Number 1. I think I'm going to have to go new school too. No, I'm not. Lita at number 1. Lita at number 1. I can't. Team Extreme for life. It was 100% Lita.
That's a good one.
Well,
I got some in the back pocket. That are ready. Go ahead. Who you got at number 2, Angel?
Number 2? For me personally, I probably would put Akira Hokuto.
Okay.
I love a lot of people as far as like athleticism goes. They love Toyota, but for me personally, I love how aggressive like Akira is. So that would be my number 2. Like I just like her vibe.
Hey, no, I respect it. I respect it.
Yeah.
Man. That's a really good one too. My number 2. I've always been a fan of Asuka, so I'm gonna have to go with Asuka / Kana. I love her before she came in there.
It's Kana for me, dude. Kana's a badass.
Dude, that face paint. I
like
love
Asuka's cool, but Kana's a badass.
Yeah.
All right, for number 2 for me, I'm gonna give Trish a shout out here because
Nice.
you know, she's just awesome, and I got to meet her a couple months back, and she's such a humble woman, and just a great part of wrestling.
That's a good one too.
No, I respect it. I still love Trish. She's still kicking it. She just had a match. You know, I don't remember. It was a year or 2 ago, but she still had a match.
Yep.
Yeah, and she kicked ass. She looked great. So yeah, shout out. That's a good pick. I'm gonna play off of your pick actually because she turned into a phenomenal wrestler, but she showed up and her gimmick was Trish Stratus's stalker, Mickey James.
Oh yeah,
dude, the Mickey James was awesome. Like she was a way better version of Trish Stratus in that era, in my opinion. Like it was just Trish Stratus on steroids was Mickey James, and now she's a phenomenal, champion, country music star, just killer. Mickey James that's. Yep.
Definitely.
Number 3.
Who you got for pick 3, Angel?
3. Gonna have to. I'm pulling into my staples for my top, but Luna Vachon will be number 3 for me.
Oh, that's a good one. I loved Luna, man. She was great.
She was great in the wrong era. I felt like
with
she
the
would
lightning bolt on the side of her head.
I think she would do great.
Oh. We got I'm not gonna look. We got comments, and these are not picked. Liv Morgan, Jordan Grace, Charlotte Flair, Britt Baker. I mean, those are all great picks, but we might not pick them. We might. That's up to us. That's the comments picks, though. No, that's a great pick.
That is, yeah.
She was up there with I'd say like trailblazers as far as WWE, women type were, because she wasn't the typical woman in that era. In that era, it was all the body. They didn't care if the girls could wrestle. They just wanted them to look pretty on TV. And Luna would kick your ass, dude. So yeah, no, that's a good pick.
Definitely.
Dean, middle of the pack.
I'm gonna go with another current just because she's a beast. Bianca Belair is a huge one for me. What she's been able to accomplish.
For a reason.
Going last sucks. Well,
I'll make it a little more fun. I'm gonna go with actually a local woman wrestler, Ziggy. I'm gonna go with Ziggy Haim, AIW. Every time I see her, she rules, and just genuinely a rad person.
Hell
She's
yeah.
cool.
No, I love Ziggy. She's great. Okay. All right. Should I go? I got an old school in the deck, but I got a new schooler too, and I don't know who I should take. I'm going to take Chris Statlander. I love Chris Statlander. She's phenomenal. Best friends, their favorite alien, Chris Statlander.
Her favorite alien.
Somebody in the chat said Shawn Michaels. Mia Yim.
Jesus.
Oh, no.
I said Luna. That's close enough.
Yeah.
Together. So.
Angel, who you got it for?
I'm tied. I'm torn between 2.
When we get to the end of this, it gets tough. You're just like, oh.
And then as soon as it's done, you're gonna think of 30.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure my top when I'm asked is probably different from podcast to podcast, but because I stole the Udakin from her, I'm gonna go with Aja Kong.
Oh, cool.
Hell
Her
yeah.
spinning back
Hell yeah.
is like one of my favorite things on the planet. Eddie
awesome.
Kingston also does it currently, and I do too. So
Yeah,
I love
no,
Aja.
I was gonna say I've seen you drop a couple of those. I've seen you drop a
Yeah.
couple of those. So hell yeah, that's a good pick. That's a
My number 4. It's gonna go with someone who's fairly new in the industry too. Billie Starks. She's super young and she is so talented. You've had
Yes.
the opportunity to wrestle her as well.
Mhm.
I think
Yep.
she has a bright future ahead of her. She's extremely talented. Her dad's awesome. Takes awesome photos too. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Billie Starks.
Awesome.
That's a pretty solid pick. No, she is young and she's really good.
All
She just
right.
graduated high school.
What do you got, Vinny Mac?
I'm going with a wild card here. So my number 4 is actually going to be Shotsky. Or Shotzi, my bad. I think I said
Shotzi.
Shotzi, yeah.
Badass.
The tank. The tank.
Hey,
Love the
the
tank.
tank is cool as shit. I respect, dude. I love that she would come out and shoot it had the foam bullet with it, and she just come out and shoot at people with the ring. It, reminded me of like the milk bath, the beer bath type of shit when she'd come out. So I love Shotzi. Dean's been a big fan of Shotzi since the beginning.
Yeah, I have. Back when she,
all right.
I remember seeing her and Atticus Cogar go against each other, and Atticus came out dressed up as her.
Oh, that's so awesome.
He had everything going. It was great.
Pick number 4. I think I'm going to take an old school and keep my last new school in the pocket in case nobody steals it. One of my favorite wrestlers back in the day, Jacqueline.
Oh,
Who recently just said that she still has some in the tank and she would love to come back and get another match with WWE. She posted their Twitter and I was like, hey, PMS, the pretty me heard. Like Terry Reynolds wasn't a wrestler, but Jacqueline would kick your ass, dude.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
I'm about that. So yeah, Jacqueline.
it's a good one.
Hmm.
Your final one.
No.
It's tough.
Brianna in the chat. Main event, Mike Contos in the chat.
Well, I think I'll just throw this one on because so I don't take forever trying to overthink it. I'll pick Lufisto as my last.
Oh,
okay.
I think she deserves more flowers as far as being on the women's list. Just so tough, like unbelievably tough, and especially for her stature, the people that she's wrestled and taken on and the death matches that she's had, it's just like bananas.
That's a really good one.
Jason called him pre-show Mike Contos.
What do you
We
call
started
him?
calling Mike
Beaker?
Contos, one of the referees from Neo Pro, if you're not familiar. We started calling him main event Mike Contos at the last show, and since then I think Jason's demoted him to curtain jerker.
Oh no.
Leave him alone. My last one is going to be Mae Young, probably.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was waiting for
Talking
May
about
to mention-
tough. For sure. I thought about it.
Especially like later in her life with the Dudley Boys, man.
I was gonna say, dude, Mae Young was a soldier, bro. That's probably one of my favorite stories I've ever heard from Bubba Ray is when he said that like she was like, don't fucking hold back. She was, 90 years old or however old she was, and she was like, slam me through that table. Like,
Dude. She took a lot of bumps at that age too, like hard bumps. She's a soldier.
She had a baby with Mark Henry, dude.
I forgot all about that.
I
The
mean,
hand.
how much that comes up in interviews that I do. I swear. It's
Oh
like
no.
No way. I forgot all
That's
about
hilarious. That's
It's
hilarious.
just because of the era of wrestling that is like my favorite. Like I swear that's come up like a few times in interviews I've done.
I mean, it's probably, dude, that's the best. I hate to say it because, like, now, in my opinion, wrestling is way better technically than it was back then. You had some good technical wrestlers, but now everybody can wrestle. Everybody can put on a show, but they're not allowed to do as much, because of censoring and stuff or, getting canceled or whatever. So it's like they can't have as much fun. So it's not as entertaining. Because like some of the Attitude Era made it the best. Drink Stone Cold drinking beer, stunning the boss, flipping middle fingers. Just it made it the best in my opinion. I like wrestling now, but Attitude Era will always reign supreme.
Me and Vince are big ECW guys too. We grew up watching that. So yeah, Attitude Era and ECW back in its heyday loved it.
It was the best.
Vince,
all right. So are we
round out your list?
Are we doing honorable mentions?
If you have one, you can drop one.
Yeah,
I think
if you have one.
Then I will.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah, we can cycle back around.
We'll circle back around. Yep, that's fine.
Perfect. So
Okay.
for number 5, I'm going to go with Masha Slamovich. She's
yeah.
a badass, and she just won the J Cup, the GCW J Cup, as well as JCW's World Champion title belt. So it is just absolutely amazing watching her get out there and just slam some guys around like 3 times her size, and it's just awesome. We love seeing it.
Definitely.
No, that's a good pick. Masha's good. I was a little upset that she didn't get a bigger push when she, went kind of pro style, but it is what it is. My
Kelly on as MK Ultra, and love that.
Yeah. My 5th and final pick is this year's current Women's Royal Rumble winner, Bayley. I've always been a fan of Bayley. I got a shirt upstairs in the closet that's purple and it says I'm a hugger. Like side ponytail Bayley was great. Heel Bayley is a billion times better.
Yeah.
I love Bayley. I'll always love Bayley. So Bayley's my 5th and final pick. And we'll circle back around for honorable mentions.
Okay. I will do my honorable mention. I'm gonna go with Su Yung.
Ooh,
hell yeah.
I just adore Su Yung. Like,
no, that's great character. Great. The character work that she put in is phenomenal. Like when she was doing that, I love Su Yung.
Good pick.
Yeah, that's awesome. A great pick.
Good. Okay. My honorable mention, I'm gonna go with the Glamazon, Beth Phoenix.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. That's a good pick too.
All right, honorable. I'm throwing in Beulah, ECW's Beulah, because that match with Fonzie was absolutely insanity.
Awesome.
That's a good one. Beulah. Fonzie's your boy though. I think that's kind of you're in there with some tainted logic because of Fonzie.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with another badass. I'm going to go with another badass who I don't think ever really got proper flowers. She's always been a legend. She's definitely well known. Lisa Marie Varon, better known as Vic Business back in the day. She was one of them in the era, again, where all they really cared about was her body, was women's bodies. And she let it be known that she could do work in the ring as well. So Victoria is my honorable mention for sure.
That's a good one. Well, I think that's all we got for you today. We didn't want to take up too much of your time. We really, really, really appreciate you coming on. We've been wanting you to come on for a while, and it's an honor to have you on. We hope the best. Hope you have an amazing 2024.
You guys too, definitely. Thanks so much for having me on.
I was going to say real quick, do you have anything you want to plug? Any shows upcoming besides the Neo Pro show that I'm going to plug at the end?
Yeah, so I've got Neo Pro. I've got XCF against John Wayne Murdoch on the 23rd. I've got a couple more dates with both Neo Pro and I think we have some. I don't think XCF is planned yet, but whenever that is. Warriors of Wrestling, March 16th. Basically, just check my social media. I've got a running list through April right now, so just go on there.
You got a website too, right?
That's Angel Metro on Facebook, on X, Instagram, all the things is Angel Metro.
And the website angel-metro.com.
Yep, I was about
perfect. And then, like I said, this weekend, Saturday, you can see Angel Metro one-on-one with Super Oprah at Stark County Fairgrounds at Neo Pro White Noise. GA tickets are still available. Front rows sold out. Hopefully, we see you guys all Saturday.
You're gonna have some merch available?
Yes.
I think I'm gonna have to buy maybe an Angel Metro shirt.
I'll have.
I know that we had our buddy Kyle sat behind us last time. He's a big Angel Metro fan. He popped in the chat for a little bit. I'm sure he'll be there this weekend. So, like I said, if you haven't got your tickets, pop over and get your tickets. And we'll see you guys all on Saturday. Thank you again, Angel.
Yep. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.